I had a couple of mice. The vet said they were albinos. And it's time for the 2021 Senate Race Finals. Hello and welcome to the finals of the 2021 Senate race. We're here for the first race of the finals at Road America. We had a very, very wacky qualifying session, and we're going to take you through some of the highlights there, just because we got time this time. Debbie Stabenow going off 2 corners into her qualifying run. That's a great start there, Debbie. John Cornyn, the second lowest rated senator, just casually cutting some grass and then runs over Tommy Tuberville's nose, because
the wheel is just gone.
Tommy Tuberville spun, somehow. Yep, John Thune hit Tuberville too. There goes Thune's nose. Richard Blumenthal and James Langford hit each other, so their suspensions are broken. And then John Cornyn and Jack Reed got into a little bit of bother. Bonk! That's one of the biggest crashes we've seen in the whole Senate race. Whee!
Well, it was kind of both of their faults, but... because for some reason Reed was like, I will turn back.
Clearly not looking in his mirrors, and he just turns in. Whoop! There we go. Up and over. Flippity-floppity. Upside-doppity. Jack Reed barely even saw what happened until it happened, and you see Cornyn flip-flopping. There's a little bit of a crass crisscross there that ended in the cress. And after all that, the grid is set as you see it on the ticker there. Just move me down 6 spots, put John Cornyn at the back, and that is your grid for the finals of the 2021 Senate race. And to give the command to start engines, please welcome the hamburger, Marshall Pruett.
Hi, I'm an echoey Marshall Pruett. I'm gonna say something here about how I never expected to be giving a command to a bunch of AI senators. And then I'm gonna close it off with a triumphant, senators, start your engines and stuff. Okay, now go play race car.
Thank you, Marshall Pruett, for starting those engines. For one final time, John Hoeven leads us at the start. But this time the race is twice as long. And we got a very hungry driver in Brian Schatz, a very hungry driver in Cynthia Lummis as John Hoeven cuts the grass there. That's going to allow Brian Schatz to take the inside here into turn 1. We don't see mistakes from John Hoeven often, but I think he just made one at the start. Can he sweep around the outside of Brian Schatz here? No! John Hoeven makes a mistake. He is able to sweep around the outside, but he lost a lot of momentum there. He is desperate as Bernie Sanders is off. Tom Cotton gets turned into the wall. That's a melee back there as Schatz and Lummis are going side by side. That's going to slow them down and allow John Hoeven to start pulling away. Unfortunately, Bernie Sanders, he made it all the way to the finals, and he only makes it 1 corner in the final race. We'll take a look at that replay when we can, but right now we're focused on Brian Schatz trying to chase down John Hoeven. Nobody has been able to chase down John Hoeven for this whole Senate race, but Brian Schatz only 4 percentage points lower rated, as further back Shelley Moore Capito and Cynthia Lummis battle for that 3rd spot. John Hoeven is pulling away from Brian Schatz, but he's not pulling away that quickly. Brian is not leaving Hoeven to run away with this race. The gap is about 0.8 of a second. But a very good corner for Hoeven there. Actually, it was pretty even between him and Schatz. The gap stagnating at about 0.9 of a second as we go through the carousel for the first time. Hoeven is pulling away. The gap's going to be about 1 second on exit here. Brian Schatz needs to get in the draft, as I think we've seen another crash. Blumenthal, Tuberville, Reed. I tell you what, with all these lapped cars, with all these cars crashing, they're going to reset in the pits, and we may have lap traffic come into consideration later in this race. But right now, Brian Schatz just trying to maximize the draft here. You can see the gap going down below 0.8. It'll be about 0.7 of a second by the time we get to Canada Corner, but John Hoeven was pretty late in the brakes there. But it was a decent corner for Brian Schatz. He's sticking in the draft here as we go up to the long front stretch. While we wait for that, we're going to take you back to see the accident that ended Bernie Sanders' race before it even started. Oh, it was all Tom Cotton, and then Bernie just ran into Tom Cotton. Bonk! Straight into the wall. Cotton ends up in the wall as well. Very disappointing way to start Bernie Sanders' Senate race. Let's go back up front. John Hoeven is leading Brian Schatz still. But Brian Schatz is not out of draft range here. The gap's still about 0.8 of a second. But that was a great turn one from John Hoeven this time. But it was pretty good from Brian Schatz as well. The gap stuck at about 0.9 of a second. Schatz needs to do something here. As the gap expands to over a second for the first time. That is not good for Brian Schatz. Brian Schatz desperately needs to get back in the draft here. He needs lap traffic. He needs a mistake from Hoeven. He needs something. Or else this race is over. It's further back. Chuck Schumer's trying to make his way forward. Getting by Shelley Moore Capito. The gap is back down under a second between Hoeven and Schatz. If but momentarily, as Hoeven gets a very good turn 5. Corey, do you think Brian Schatz will be able to catch John Hoeven here?
Hoeven is simply too powerful and he's winning the whole thing.
It's a possibility, but the gap 1.1 seconds right now. Continues to pull away from Schatz. Bernie Sanders has still not rejoined the race in the pits. But I don't know, Bernie Sanders... Oh, Bernie Sanders will be joining the pits momentarily as you see me end up on the timing screens there. That's a sign that Reed, Sanders, Blumenthal, they're all back in the pits. So it's a very real possibility that lap traffic could play a factor here. As I think Tuberville and Shelby have now crashed. The two Alabama senators not working together very well. Let's take a look at that. Tommy Tuberville... That's John Hoeven. Tommy Tuberville here. Oh, that's Blumenthal off track. Yeah, doesn't look like anything happened. How about here? Where is he? Richard Shelby? Oh, that's Richard Shelby off track. That's not Richard Blumenthal. It's a red nose. But anyway, back up front. Tommy Tuberville is still out on track. I thought he was out of the race. I guess the graphics lied to us. But John Hoeven has pulled a 1.5 second gap over Brian Schatz. We're going to take a look at Bernie Sanders. Where's Bernie Sanders on track? He's not that far ahead of these guys. Neither are Jack Reed or Richard Blumenthal. John Hoeven could run into lap traffic before this race is over. I don't think Brian Schatz will be able to catch him on track. But we will see. Closer battle is for 4th place between Schumer and Capito. Pretty evenly matched. 71% for Schumer, 70% for Capito. And remember, this is a 2-race affair, so even though Hoeven is seemingly dominating the road course portion, if he gets a bad oval race, that is his Senate race championship hopes over. We see Tom Cotton falling down the order a little bit now. He's still suffering from that nose damage he had on lap 1 after he and Bernie came together. Shelley Moore Capito in the draft of Chuck Schumer, but that 1 percentage point difference is making a difference because she doesn't seem to be able to make this move. And on the scene now, Mazie Hirono, also 71% skill level. This is going to be a 3-way battle for 4th here. And on the oval, when anyone can win, every point matters, even if you're not winning this race. John Thune's defending the last points position in the race. John Bozeman's about 8 seconds behind him, so I think he'll be pretty safe there. But we've seen a race of chaos and drama so far. There's nothing saying that we don't see more crashes. As it looks like James Lankford will be leaving the pits momentarily. As will James Lankford. Capito has to slam on the brakes a little bit behind Chuck Schumer. That's going to mess up her momentum here. Gap between Hoeven and Schatz still expanding by about 1/10 a lap. I don't think Brian Schatz will be able to catch John Hoeven without some lap traffic. As we will cross the line to make this halfway in the race. Here comes Mazie Hirono on Shelley Moore Capito. Capito not able to make the move on Schumer, but can Hirono make the move on Capito? Yes, she can! Mazie Hirono up to 5th place. That's Hirono, Capito, Crapo, Crapo in 7th. But I want to look back up front because I think Richard Shelby and James Langford have just left the pits. John Hoven is here. We see him entering the start-finish straight. And then James Langford, he's only 2 corners ahead, as is Richard Shelby and as is Jack Reed. John Hoven could very well catch these guys before the end of this race. As it looks like Alex Padilla has been promoted. No, he's been demoted as John Thune got by him for 9th. Mike Lee and Mike Crapo having a little bit of a battle. We're going to go back to the Schumer-Hirono-Capito battle here. Battle for 4th. Cynthia Lummis must be pretty lonely, sitting in 3rd. She's got 2 seconds ahead and 4 seconds behind. Someone who's not lonely is Chuck Schumer. Trying to get those extra 2 points that 4th gives you compared to 5th. But Mazie Hirono is desperate for those extra points. Tries to go to the inside. Schumer blocks that off. She goes to the outside. Capito's getting in the draft of Hirono, but she has no momentum here. I think Hirono's going to be clear of Schumer as we go down into turn 5. Is she going to cross him over? She is! Mazie Hirono steals the inside and steals 4th place from Chuck Schumer. As John Bozeman is out of the race now. 14 cars left running. These finalists have been crazy. We're going to take a break from this battle for a moment to show you what happened to John Bozeman here. Just at turn 1, a big lockup, and then whoop! Very similar to what happened to Diane Abbott in the House of Commons race in the same colored car. The pressure of the finals is clearly showing itself, as this is more crashes than we've seen, I think, total in all the road course races, Corey. What do you think's causing this?
Well, they're closely matched, and, 1 percentage point separates them.
And the underdogs in the final, John Cornyn and Debbie Stabenow, the only drivers in the 50% range, they're actually having a pretty solid race. John Cornyn could steal a point if this battle here comes to blows. As I say that, he just went off track, but here comes Chuck Schumer trying to repay the favor on Mazie Hirono around the outside. Can he do it? Oh, that's going to be tight. He wiggles a little bit, just like John Hoven did at turn 1. But Chuck Schumer is clear of Hirono again. And again, Shelly Moore Capito cannot make up any positions. She is struggling in 6th. We're going to take a peek up front again at John Hoven, our leader. The last placed car on track is Richard Blumenthal, I believe. How far ahead is he? He's right there! John Hoven is going to catch lap traffic before he knows it as Blumenthal locks up a little bit to turn 1. There's only 2 laps to go. But with how fast Hoven is, he very well could catch Blumenthal and maybe even Reed and Shelby. We're going to take you back to the 4th place battle. Until that happens, Mazie Hirono not able to go around the outside of Chuck Schumer this time. Reed and Shelby are battling as well. That's going to slow them down. But Hirono desperately looking for a way back by Schumer, but Schumer is defending well. Down this straight, I'm just looking at the gap between Hoven and Blumenthal. They should catch each other in a little bit. But we're going to watch turn 5 here between Hirono and Schumer. Hirono on the outside. She's going to try and be clear of Chuck Schumer again here. Will she cross him over? I don't think she's quite far enough ahead to do it this time. Chuck Schumer holds the inside as Capito locks up further back. And Hirono is clear. But back up front, John Hoven has caught Richard Blumenthal. Brian Schatz is hoping and praying that Blumenthal does something stupid here. And he almost does. But he barely held up Hoven there. It gave Schatz maybe a couple tenths, but now Brian Schatz has to deal with Richard Blumenthal. Will the Democrat from Rhode Island be nice to the Democrat from Hawaii? Nicer than he was to the Republican from North Dakota, John Hoven. We'll have to wait and see. Brian Schatz should probably catch Blumenthal at a better moment, but we will wait and see. Where's Richard Shelby? Richard Shelby is just going through Canada Corner now, so John Hoven may catch him before the end of the race. But we'll see. As here comes John Hoven to Canada Corner now, as Brian Schatz is clear of Richard Blumenthal on the straight. Very nice from Blumenthal there to let his fellow party member by. But Hirono and Schumer, the battle rages on here. Schumer not quite close enough to make the move this time. But we will cross the line to go one more time around. As who's leaving the pits? John Bozeman. Could there be another lapped car to put John Hoven in trouble? I think there could be. It looks like he's going to rejoin right ahead of Richard Shelby. So if he battles with Richard Shelby, that'll be bad news for Hoven. As we're going to watch Hirono and Schumer side by side. We'll take you up to John Hoven in a second. Schumer pulls out of the draft very early, as we see these drivers do a lot. That's not going to give him that much momentum. He's going to try and sweep around the outside here. Will he be able to? No, Hirono is just ahead. But back up front to John Hoven. I can't see a lapped car in sight. It looks like Bozeman and Shelby are about 10 seconds ahead. We'll see on this camera shot. You can see them up there. They're a little bit far ahead, but Hoven might catch them before the end of this lap. Further back, Cynthia Lummis in third place has dispatch of the great of Richard Blumenthal, rather. Looks like Cotton and Tuberville and Cornyn and Stabenow have either crashed or they've just gone plus a minute on the graphics. I think they've just gone plus a minute on the graphics. They're not a lap down, but they've just gone so far back that the graphics don't even consider them lead lap cars. Road America is a very long lap, as I think Richard Shelby has gone off track. As John Hoven goes through this corner here, we'll see where is Richard Shelby. Nowhere to be seen. I think Richard Shelby's out of the race. Let's take a look at what happened to Richard Shelby. He was battling with Bozeman here, and he just locked it up. That's good news for Hoven that Richard Shelby's that far off track. But is it good news for Hoven that John Bozeman is still up there? So we're going to go through the kink for the final time. I don't think Hoven will catch Bozeman. Brian Schatz disappointed that the lap traffic didn't come into his favor. A through Canada corner for the final time. No mistakes from John Hoven means victory, but I think there was a mistake from John Bozeman. But I don't think it's enough of a mistake to matter. I was thinking he might catch him at the last corner, but no. John Hoven, home free, through the final corner. As he climbs up the hill, he's even going to get a little bit of draft from his fellow Republican John Bozeman. Up the hill we come. The senator from North Dakota, John Hoven, wins the road course portion of the finals of the 2021 Senate race. A strong effort by Brian Schatz, but it wasn't quite enough. But we're going to look back. The battle between Schumer and Hirono is going to come down to the final corner, the final lap. Hirono getting a draft from Richard Shelby. Will it be enough? No! Chuck Schumer gets 4th. Hirono 5th. Capito 6th. Then it'll be Thune, Lee, Crapo, and Padilla. Your top 10 points-paying positions. Mike Crapo comes home P9. Alex Padilla, the rookie. And unfortunately, we lost Bernie Sanders, James Lankford, John Bozeman, Jack Reed, Richard Blumenthal, and Richard Shelby. But they'll all be back for the Oval, and we will see who is our 2021 Senate Race Champion.